Hello, this is Mr. Reiner, and let's review about our indigenous culture and climate of Mexico, Central America, and Caribbean. So this is the kind of stuff that you need to know for the test, so just so you keep that in mind. First of all, what climate zones does Mexico have? So there are 4 examples: high mountain, humid temperate, desert, and tropical. So they aren't exactly here, and climate is very general, so there are many ways you can describe any biome or climate area, region, or whatever. But we can see that kind of the tropical area is lower. And we'll also see right here, Tropic of Cancer. So if we go to the next slide, you can see that this area in the middle, we have the equator, and then we have what we call the Tropic of Cancer, the Tropic of Capricorn. These are the points on Earth where the sun goes the furthest north or south as far as where it shines in summer/winter. Okay, so on the first day of summer in the northern hemisphere, the sun will be shining strongest on this line. And then as summer ends and fall begins, then winter starts officially, then we start to go back, and as we get closer to spring, then we get closer to summer again. So the sun is not moving, the earth is moving, but because the earth is tilted and the earth moves around like this, like we talked about at the beginning of the year, the sun, the strongest point where the sun shines is different on the earth every day, actually. So the hottest point in the middle of summer, or the height of the beginning, I guess, of summer is right here, which is right in Mexico, right? So all this area, just like we saw in the previous map, is going to be the tropics. So anything in southern Mexico is going to be considered to be in the tropics. Southern Mexico has a tropical climate. All right. All right. The next thing, climate does change with elevation. And I don't know if climate's really the right word for that, but the basic point is that as you are lower, more towards the sea, or even below the sea in some cases, like Death Valley, it's going to be hotter. And then as you go higher up, it's colder. And you can always think as you can see the snow on top of the mountain, right? Usually, if it's the right season. Okay, so that would be colder because there's snow. And in some mountains, on some mountains, it's so cold up there that they can't even grow trees, even if they tried. Okay, even if you planted a tree and it wouldn't grow because it's so high up. But you can grow these cooler weather crops in kind of the middle area, okay? And then, the warmer ones like fruits and whatnot at the bottom, all right? So that is great for countries in this area because they are actually able to grow a wide variety of foods in their country, right? Because they can grow the cooler stuff at the top, which we would normally have to wait for winter to do, or they can grow the hot stuff at the bottom that we can't even grow in some parts of the US. So that's why you see a lot of food that comes from Mexico because they can pretty much grow all year round. All right, next, the Maya. We didn't really talk about them much, but you need to understand that the Maya were another civilization very similar to the Aztecs, but they didn't live at the same time. Okay, they lived in the Yucatan Peninsula, which is right here. A lot of people talk about going to Cancun and stuff like that. That's in this area. All right, a lot of rainforest, and really this is the tropics. So deep forest, and they have that's where the Maya were. So you get lots of Mayan pyramids and whatnot. They didn't live around at the same time as the Aztecs. So the Maya were between 2600 BC and about the year 1000. They lived a little bit longer than that, but their greatest cities were built between 250 and 900. And then the Aztecs were after that. About 1300 is when they started to become a society. So because of that, they went until the Spanish conquered them. But if that's the case, then did the Maya live in Tenochtitlan? What do you think? The city that we built in Minecraft, did they live there? No, they didn't. Okay, so if that's the case, who did live in Tenochtitlan? Well, it was the Aztecs, right? So both the Aztecs and the Maya had complex social and religious systems. It's another thing. The reason why we like to study these societies, although we chose to more focus on the Aztecs, is because they were a very complex society, and they had their own calendar system and other technologies that other Native American tribes that existed in North and South America didn't have. So they were more advanced than some other Native American tribes. All right, another thing we need to talk about is Mexican folk art. So just pulled up an example of it, and I think you can buy these, and they're all print, so it means they're basically copies of real art that somebody made. But anyway, you can see this is what you would call Mexican folk art. So if you see the term folk art, what do you think that means? Do you notice any similarities between what you see here and the project that you created? So you should be able to notice that a lot of this is the folk art is very closely connected to the culture, and it's also very closely connected to indigenous culture a lot of times. It doesn't have to be, but it often is. You can see things like this. There's a lot of indigenous inspiration here. Not all of these are, but all of these art styles are directly connected to what defines Mexican culture. So that's called folk art. That's all for me. So thanks a lot for watching. Good luck on your test.